Oh, hello there. My name is Max Keiser. This is the Keiser Report, the show that bars no holds. Holds are no barred. What about Roseanne Barr? I don't know. Stacey.
Well, you seem to have lost your mind, but you know what? So has the U.S. in general, so maybe you've been spending too much time there. I have a headline here from CNN that we haven't been able to cover while we've been here because, we've had other stuff, but I love this headline as well. Peter Navarro says there's a special place in hell for Justin Trudeau. That is our chief trade negotiator for Donald Trump, so it is quite interesting to call an ally. There's a special place in hell for him, and I don't know if that was because of his eyebrow falling down his face, but Peter Navarro has apologized for this since then. But
yeah, I'm not sure what the big problem is with the Canadians. I mean, we get the maple syrup, and we get the hockey players, and they get the tar sands. I tell you what, stop sending tar sands to America, and I'll be happy about that, because it's extremely dangerous for people's health.
I think Justin Trudeau did some sort of special tar sands deal just recently as well, but nobody pays attention to them because Trump is everything, right? But that's what everybody's paying attention to. But I want to turn to another story that I promised we would cover. In the last episode, I said we would cover this, and this is finally SEC frets about share buybacks. Quote, torrent of corporate trading dominating the market and short-term financial engineering. Right after the company tells the market the stock is cheap, executives overwhelmingly decide to sell. That's the headline, and this is from WallStreet.com, but he's talking about an SEC study, and they find that basically all these companies are doing is they announce that they're going to do a share buyback. That sends stocks soaring. And you know what happens? The insiders dump all their shares. Fivefold increase from the week before. They'll start dumping their shares. And some of them don't even do the share buybacks because they don't have to. All they're interested in is cashing out.
So it's a massive market manipulation. Stock market manipulation by insiders, aided and abetted by regulators like the SEC. All the SEC is doing here is CY. You can look up on Urban Dictionary what that means. All they're trying to do is cover their tracks so that when the lawsuits happen, they can say, oh, we were aware of it, we warned against it, we're on top of it. But they are aiding and abetting. The regulators are captured. The regulators are venal. The regulators get payoffs. Okay? They get money from these guys, and then they go, or they, in the form of, they leave the government job, they get a job in the private sector, and they get the big payoff. It's highly corrupt, isn't it? Like we've been saying for years. And they're taking it all private, and what's left is neo-feudalism. And tar sands.
So they announced a share buyback to happen, and the study found of these 385 companies that they looked at that had announced share buybacks, they found abnormal returns those 30 days afterward. That's when the executives start selling their shares. So, in fact, twice as many companies have insiders selling in the 8 days after a buyback announcement as sell on an ordinary day. So right after the company tells the market that the stock is cheap, executives overwhelmingly decide to sell, explained SEC Commissioner Robert Jackson Jr., appointed by President Trump and sworn in earlier this year. They tell the market, our share price is so cheap that we think the best use of our money is to buy back those shares because they're so cheap. Well, then the executives start dumping it. So the same executives who said the share price is cheap to the market are dumping their shares.
Right, and the money that they use to buy back their shares is borrowed money from essentially the Fed, ultimately, that charges them nothing to borrow that money. So you're literally printing money in the form of the stock option appreciation that goes up as the share price is bought back, and you are taking capital out of the economy, and then there's nothing left for basic services like healthcare. So you have millions of heroin addicts popping up all over America because this rentier guys at the top are just raking all this money out of the economy with the help of the regulators. The SEC is participating in this. The problem with crypto is that they're not paying the SEC enough bribe money. Hopefully that'll change soon enough.
He points out that this isn't necessarily illegal, but he wonders whether or not it's good for America. And he says,
it's not right.
On too many occasions, companies doing buybacks have failed to make the long-term investments in innovation or their workforce that our economy so badly needs. And because we at the SEC have not reviewed our rules governing stock buybacks in over a decade, I worry whether these rules can protect investors investors, workers, and communities from the torrent of corporate trading dominating today's markets.
What's the holdup? They haven't reviewed the rules in a decade? What are you doing? Here's $5, okay? Jay Clayton, here's $5. Can you please rig the market for me, too? You greedy little punk? They're
concern trolling. They're saying, hey, share executives, we're a little bit concerned that we might have to regulate you if you stop making it so obvious.
We need more payoff. We need more bribe. We're going to regulate you, Wall Street, unless you give us small bags of money. I'm too stupid to get a job at Goldman Sachs, so I had to be a regulator. And now, unless you give me another bag of money, I'm going to regulate you, says Jay and all the other regulators.
So then he goes on to say, executives often claim that a buyback is the right long-term strategy for the company, and they're not always wrong. But if that's the case, they should want to hold the stock over the long run, not cash it out once a buyback is announced. If corporate managers believe that buybacks are indeed best for the company, its workers, and its community, they should put their money where their mouth is. So that's not going to happen, and we've covered that. It's obviously corrupt. We've pointed it out, and perhaps that's why the SEC is saying, hey, executives, watch out. Obviously, CNBC is not covering this fact. They're not pointing out that this is corrupt and venal, and a special place in hell should be reserved for you, just like